Most people live their entire lives without ever realizing they are holding a tool capable of altering their neurological reality. You look for complex rituals. You chase expensive seminars. You listen to hours of affirmations while you sleep, hoping that a passive input will somehow rewrite the hard drive of your subconscious mind. But the most powerful mechanism for re-engineering your internal program is likely sitting on your desk right now. A pen and a piece of paper. This is not a metaphor, and this is not a journaling exercise for your mental health. We are talking about source code scripting. We are talking about the biological fact that the fine motor skills involved in cursive writing act as a direct, hardline connection to the reticular activating system of your brain. When you type on a keyboard, your brain processes the movement as a generic, automated motor function. Typing "I am rich" and "I am poor" involves the exact same finger taps. The neurological signal is weak. It is digital noise. But when you write by hand, you are engaging thousands of micro movements. You are forcing the brain to slow down, coordinate the hand and eye, and construct a unique geometrical symbol on a physical surface. You are not just recording information. You are minting a neurological token. You are impressing a command directly onto the server of the matrix. The architects of history, the inventors, the emperors, the mystics knew something that the modern digital world has forgotten. They knew that to bring order out of chaos, you must physically draw the blueprint into existence. Today, we are going to teach you the science of scripting. We are not going to ask you to write a diary about your feelings. We are going to teach you how to write a code that your reticular activating system is compelled to execute. But before we hand you the stylus, you must accept your role. You are not a passive observer recording history. You are the programmer writing the future. Open the comms channel below. Pick up your digital pen. Sign the initial contract with the simulation. Write, "It is done." Do it now. The session has begun. To understand why scripting works, you must first understand why your current methods of manifestation are failing. You have been told to think positive thoughts, but thoughts are volatile. They are electrochemical sparks. They appear, they drift, and they dissipate. The average human has 60,000 thoughts a day. The brain filters out most of them as background noise to prevent processing overload. This filtering is done by the reticular activating system, RAS. As we discussed in previous transmissions, the RAS filters out 99.9% of data. It only lets in what it considers critical information. How does the RAS decide what is critical? It looks for cognitive load and sensory engagement. When you type on your phone, you are usually multitasking. You are half asleep. You are disconnected. The motion is repetitive and requires almost zero conscious effort. The RAS tags your typed affirmations as low priority. It deletes them before they reach the subconscious core. This is why you can type "I am successful" 1,000 times and see no change in your behavior or perception. Now, consider the act of writing by hand. Neuroscience calls this psychomotor imprinting. When your fingers grip the pen, you engage the tactile sense. When you smell the ink and paper, you engage the olfactory sense. When you watch the letters form, you engage the visual cortex. When you hear the scratch of the pen, you engage the auditory cortex. And critically, you engage Broca's area, the part of the brain responsible for language processing and comprehension. You are synchronizing 4 senses and multiple brain regions simultaneously. This creates a massive spike in neural activity. The RAS wakes up. It says, "Wait, the operator is dedicating total focus and complex motor skills to this action. This data must be critical. Let it through the firewall." This is the biological mechanism of a spell. A spell is simply a focused intention loaded with enough sensory weight to penetrate the subconscious barrier. Writing is the delivery system. A study at Dominican University found that goals written down are 42% more likely to be achieved than goals that are merely thought about. This is not magic. This is focus. Writing forces the brain to choose specific words, which forces the brain to clarify the desire. Clarity is the enemy of entropy. We are not here for 42%. We are here for 100%. To get to 100%, you need to understand that you are not just writing a sentence. You are performing an act of geometric encoding. Let us remove the mysticism and look at the physics of information. In the quantum field, a possibility exists as a wave. It is abstract. It is everywhere and nowhere. "I want a new car" is a wave. It is a vague electrical impulse in your synaptic web. It has no structure. To make it real, you must give it structure. You must convert the abstract signal into a concrete symbol. When you take a pen and write, "I own a matte black Model X," you are performing an act of geometric encoding. You are taking a chaotic frequency, the thought, and collapsing it into a rigid, defined geometric pattern on a physical substrate, the paper. You are not turning energy into matter in the literal sense. The ink was already matter. But you are organizing matter to hold a specific frequency of information. You are saving the file. Think of your brain as RAM, random access memory. RAM is fast, but it is volatile. If the power cuts, the data is lost. Paper is the hard drive. It is stable. It is permanent. Once the idea is written on paper, it exists outside of your biological mind. It has become an independent object in the universe. You can look at it. You can touch it. It does not disappear when you stop thinking about it. This creates a feedback loop. Your eyes see the paper. The image goes back into the brain. The brain reinforces the thought. The thought triggers the emotion. The emotion drives the action. This loop is what builds the reality. This is why specificity is the key to the code.
If you write, "I want more money," the geometric structure is weak. It is blurry. The universe, which operates on precise mathematical laws, cannot process a blurry command. You might find a dime on the street. Technically, that is more money. The command was executed. But if you write, "I received $10,000 in my checking account by October 1st, you have built a sharp, crystalline lattice of information. The RAS knows exactly what to scan for. The subconscious knows exactly what opportunities to highlight. Most people are afraid to be specific because they fear disappointment. What if I write the date and it doesn't happen? This fear is exactly what keeps the signal weak. You must have the audacity to define the coordinates.
Now we arrive at the syntax of the code. The biggest mistake beginners make with scripting is using the wrong tense. They write, "I will be wealthy." They write, "I want to find love." They write, "I hope to get the job." This is fatal syntax. The subconscious mind does not understand future. It only understands now. If you write, "I will," you are programming your brain to forever chase a carrot on a stick. You are creating a reality where the result is always about to happen, but never happens. If you write, "I want," you are affirming the state of lack. The matrix gives you more wanting. To hack the system, you must use future past tense. You must write as if the event has already happened and you are looking back at it. You do not write, "I want a promotion." You write, "I am so grateful now that I have been promoted to director." Better yet, you date the entry for the future, but write it in the past tense. Example: today is January 1st. You write the date at the top of the page as July 1st. Then you write, "I remember back in January when I was worried about money. It seems so funny now. I am so relieved that the contract came through in March. My life has changed so much since then." Do you see what you just did? You engaged in chronological hacking. You bypassed the logical firewall. The conscious mind fights predictions that might not happen, but the conscious mind accepts memories without question. By framing the desire as a memory, you sneak it past the guard dog. You triggered the chemistry of relief. Relief is the highest vibration of manifestation. Relief means the struggle is over. Relief means the result is secured. When you write in the future past tense, your brain produces the neurochemistry associated with the completion of the goal. This chemical state is what aligns your vibration with the reality you desire. You are time traveling with a pen. You are jumping to the future timeline, looking back at the present and rewriting the bridge between them. This brings us to the actual protocols. We are going to give you 3 specific scripting techniques. The rhythm protocol, inspired by Tesla's vortex math, the quantum letter, the parallel self, and the hypnagogic loop, subconscious imprinting. But be warned, do not start writing unless you are prepared for the simulation to shift. When you put pen to paper with this level of specific intent, you initiate a bridge of incidents. Coincidences will start to happen, opportunities will appear, and sometimes structures that no longer fit your new code will crumble. Relationships may end, jobs may change. Do not panic.
This is the universe clearing the construction site to build the new structure you designed. You asked for the renovation. Do not complain about the demolition. We are now approaching the midpoint of the transmission. We have covered the neuroscience of psychomotor imprinting and the physics of geometric encoding. You understand why the pen is the stylus of the mind. In the second part of this download, we will walk you through the step-by-step execution of the 3-6-9 rhythm. We will explain exactly how to use repetition to bombard the subconscious, and we will reveal the launch mechanism, the burn ritual, and why you must destroy the paper to release the attachment. Prepare your notebook. The ink is about to flow. Stay tuned.
We have established the mechanism. You understand that the pen is a needle, and your neural network is the vinyl record. To change the song playing in your life, you must scratch a new groove into the physical structure of your brain. Now we move to the method. We are not here to give you busy work. We are not here to give you journaling prompts to make you feel better. We are here to give you algorithmic sequences that force the reticular activating system to accept a new truth as biological data. These protocols are ancient technology wrapped in modern neuroscience. They rely on spaced repetition, circadian entrainment, and memory reconsolidation. Do not mix these methods randomly. Do not dabble. Choose one, master it, execute it with surgical precision until the external reality collapses to match the internal script. Protocol 1. The Circadian Rhythm. The 3-6-9 method. We begin with the most famous yet most misunderstood protocol, the 3-6-9 method. Internet lore attributes this directly to Nikola Tesla. While Tesla was indeed obsessed with the mathematical perfection of 3, 6, and 9 as the keys to the universe, he never taught a specific journaling protocol. However, modern metaphysicians have adapted Tesla's vortex math to create a rhythm that aligns perfectly with the human brain's daily energy cycles. This is not magic numbers. This is circadian imprinting. We are going to bombard the subconscious mind at 3 critical state changes in your day. The execution. You will perform this protocol for a minimum of 33 days. This is the time required to build a permanent neural pathway, neuroplasticity. Phase 1. The morning alpha state, the seed, 3 times. As soon as you wake up, your brain is transitioning from theta, dreaming, to alpha, relaxed awareness. Your critical factor, the logical guard dog that doubts you, is still asleep. Before you check your phone, before you let the chaos of the world enter your mind, open your notebook. Write your specific scripting statement 3 times. Example: I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning $20,000 per month. Why 3 times? The number 3 represents the seed. You are initializing the program. Write slowly. Feel the friction of the pen on the paper.
Spend at least 17 seconds on the process. Neuroscience suggests that 17 seconds of pure, uninterrupted focus is the threshold required to ignite a coherent cluster of neurons. If you rush, you fail. Phase 2, the midday interrupt, the momentum, 6 times. At midday, usually around lunch, your brain is in high beta state. You are stressed, focused on work, and reactive. You need a pattern interrupt. Step away from your work, reset your energy. Write the same affirmation 6 times. The number 6 represents amplification. You are interrupting the stress signal of the matrix to reinforce the signal of your desire. As you write, you must engage visualization. See the reality. If you are scripting for money, visualize the notification on your phone. If you are scripting for love, visualize the empty side of the bed being filled. You are watering the seed while the sun is high. Phase 3, the pre-sleep theta state, the completion, 9 times. Right before you sleep, write the affirmation 9 times. In vortex math, the number 9 signifies completion. It signifies the end of a cycle. This is the most critical phase. Whatever you input into your brain in the 30 minutes before sleep becomes the processing task for your subconscious for the next 8 hours. If you watch the news before bed, your brain processes fear all night. If you write your script 9 times, your brain processes the solution all night. While your conscious ego is offline, your supercomputer is building the architecture to make the script real. This 3-6-9 rhythm creates a bombardment effect. You are overriding the default program 3 times a day. You are leaving the old reality no room to breathe. Eventually, the RAS surrenders. It accepts the new command as the dominant fact. If you are ready to commit to the rhythm, acknowledge your discipline. Go to the comms channel. Write, "I am the author."
Protocol 2, the quantum letter, narrative transportation. The second protocol is designed for those who struggle with disbelief. If you feel resistance when writing, "I am rich," it is because your prefrontal cortex, logic center, is arguing with you. It looks at your bank account, sees 0, and rejects the affirmation as a lie. To bypass the logical guard dog, we use a psychological mechanism called narrative transportation. The human brain processes stories differently than it processes facts. When you tell a story, the critical firewall lowers. We suspend disbelief to be entertained. We are going to trick your brain by writing a letter to a friend. The mechanics. You are going to write a letter to a close friend dated exactly 1 year from today. You are going to use the future past tense we discussed in part 1. The execution. Date the top of the page, current month, next year. Start with, "Dear friend's name, you won't believe the year I have had." Then proceed to describe your dream life, but write it as a memory. Do not write about what you hope will happen. Write about what has already happened in this future timeline. Describe the promotion you got 6 months ago.
Describe the smell of the ocean at the resort you just visited. Describe the feeling of signing the deed to your new home. Example: I remember back in January when I was so worried about my debt. It seems laughable now. I'm so relieved that the business took off in April. I'll never forget the moment I saw the first $10,000 hit my account. I actually cried in the kitchen. My life is so peaceful now. Why this works? 1. It dissolves the how. When you write from the end, you don't have to worry about how it happened. It's already done. You bypass the anxiety of the process. 2. It generates relief. Relief is the chemical signature of manifestation. When you read the letter, you don't feel wanting, you feel having. 3. False memory creation. If you write this with enough detail, your brain begins to encode it as a pseudo-memory. The brain struggles to distinguish between a vivid visualization and a real memory. Write this letter once. Write it until you feel the tears of joy. Then fold it, put it in an envelope, seal it. Do not open it until the date you wrote at the top. You have placed an order with the kitchen. Stop checking the oven.
Protocol 3. The Hypnagogic Loop. Mental rehearsal. This protocol replaces the superstitious pillow method with hard neuroscience. We utilize the hypnagogic state, the borderland between wakefulness and sleep. Thomas Edison used this state to invent. Salvador Dali used it to visualize art. You will use it to reprogram your self-image. The mechanics. As you drift off to sleep, your brainwaves slow from beta, alert, to alpha, relaxed, to theta, dreaming. In theta, the door to the subconscious is wide open. The critical guard is asleep. Most people waste this precious time scrolling through social media, priming their brains with anxiety and comparison before sleep. The execution. Take a small piece of paper. Write your single most important command in the present tense. Example: I am a calm, disciplined, and wealthy operator. Place this paper on your nightstand. Turn off the lights. Lie down. Just before you close your eyes, turn on a small light, pick up the paper, and read the sentence one last time. Stare at the shape of the letters. Memorize the geometric form of the words. Then turn off the light. As you drift into the void, hold that image of the sentence in your mind's eye. Do not think about it, just hold the image. Repeat the sentence in your mind like a mantra, over and over, until you lose consciousness. You are ensuring that your intention is the very last data packet entered into the system before the nightly processing begins. This creates a hypnagogic loop. Your brain will loop this command thousands of times while you sleep, weaving it into your self-identity. We must introduce one final advanced protocol. We call it the revision algorithm. It is based on the neuroscientific concept of memory reconsolidation. Science has proven that human memory is not a video recording stored in a vault. It is reconstructive.
Every time you access a memory, you are not playing it back. You are literally rewriting it in real time based on your current emotional state. You pull the file off the shelf, you look at it, and when you put it back, it changes. You can use the pen to hack this process. You can rewrite the emotional meaning of your history. Disclaimer: we are rewriting the narrative interpretation, not the historical fact. If you have experienced severe physical trauma or abuse, this technique is for emotional regulation, not for denying legal reality or safety. Use with discretion. Identify a specific event in your past that haunts you. A bad job interview, a painful breakup, a moment of public humiliation. Take your pen. You are going to write a new script for that day. You are going to write the scene exactly as you wished it had happened. If you were fired, you write, "I remember that meeting clearly. My boss called me in. We had a calm, respectful discussion. We mutually agreed that I had outgrown the position. I walked out of that office feeling proud, holding my head high, knowing something better was coming." As you write this, you must feel the relief of this new version. Your logical brain will scream, "That's not what happened." Ignore the logic. You are talking to the limbic system, the emotional brain. The limbic system responds to the story you tell it now. By writing this new script, you strip the old memory of its negative emotional charge. You neutralize the trauma signal. You are essentially going back into the source code of your timeline and patching the error. By the time you finish writing, the feeling of failure associated with that event will dissolve. When you look back at your past, you will no longer see a chain of disasters. You will see a chain of lessons leading to this moment. You cannot build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. Use the pen to repair the cracks.
Now we arrive at the final phase, the burn ritual. You have written your scripts. You have done the 369. You have written the quantum letter. Now you must destroy the paper. The uninitiated will ask, why? If I burn it, am I canceling the order? No, you are shipping the order. There is a psychological paradox known as the Zeigarnik effect. The brain holds on to uncompleted tasks. If you keep the paper, if you reread it obsessively every day with anxiety, checking for results, you are keeping the task open. You are vibrating at the frequency of waiting. Waiting is the energy of lack. To manifest, you must shift from waiting to knowing. Think of a rocket launch. The writing phase is the loading phase. You are loading the fuel. You are inputting the coordinates. The burn phase is the launch phase. You press the button. The rocket leaves the pad. You cannot launch the rocket if you are still holding on to it with your hands. The execution. Take your script after the 33-day cycle or after the quantum letter is written. Find a safe place, light a candle, hold the paper in the flame. As it burns, Watch the paper turn into ash and smoke. Visualize the energy of your words being released from the physical form and returning to the quantum field, the ether, to be rearranged into reality. This is a pattern interrupt. It signals to your brain, the work is done, the command is sent, I can now relax. Feel the sensation of letting go. Exhale deeply. Say, it is finished, it is done. You are transmuting the structure back into potential. You are trusting the general to execute the king's order.
We must address the trap that causes 90% of operators to fail. The addiction to the how. You write the script, I received $10,000, and immediately your logical brain asks, how? Is it coming from my job? Is it a lottery ticket? Is it a refund? You start trying to micromanage the matrix. You start looking for signs. You start forcing doors open. This creates resistance. This creates excess potential. The how is not your job. The how involves infinite variables that your conscious mind cannot compute. The matrix is infinitely more creative than you are. It acts as a probability drive. It calculates the path of least resistance to your goal. Maybe you get fired, which seems bad, but it forces you to start the business that makes you the money. Maybe you get a flat tire, which makes you miss the meeting, which prevents you from taking a bad deal. If you try to dictate the how, you limit the delivery routes. Your job is the what. Your job is to define the coordinate using geometric encoding. Your job is to hold the frequency of the end state. When you write the script, you must write it with the energy of a commander issuing a decree. A commander does not worry about how the bridge will be built. He simply orders it built, and his engineers figure out the logistics. You are the commander. The universe is the engineer. Stop trying to do the engineer's job.
Let us synthesize this download. The pen is not magic. The paper is not magic. You are the magic. The script is merely a focusing lens. It is a tool to gather your scattered, chaotic energy and fire it like a laser beam into the fabric of the simulation. The ink on the paper proves that you are serious. It proves that you are willing to drag an idea out of the mental realm and give it structure in the physical realm. If you cannot even summon the discipline to write your desire on a piece of paper for 33 days, do you really think you have the discipline to handle the power of that desire when it arrives? The writing is the test. The writing is the initiation. If you want to rewrite the matrix, you must first pick up the pen. Stop typing, stop swiping, stop hoping. Write. Write until your hand cramps. Write until you believe it. Write until the reality on the paper feels more real than the reality outside your window. Because once that shift happens, once the internal reality overtakes the external reality, the external world has no choice. It must collapse. It must conform.
It must reflect the code.
You now have the stylus. You know how to etch your will into the server using the neuroscience of handwriting. You are ready to command the simulation. But there is a deeper question that we have not answered. You are rewriting the screen, but what is the screen made of? Why is the world so malleable? Why does mind affect matter at all? The answer is terrifying to the unawakened, but liberating to the master. Science has finally caught up to mysticism. We now have mathematical proof that the three-dimensional world you see, the chair, the walls, your own hand, is not solid. It is a holographic projection from a two-dimensional surface of information. You are not living in a universe of objects. You are living in a universe of processed data. And if the world is a hologram, then pain, poverty, and death are just rendering errors. In the next transmission, we are going to break the glass. We will expose system error, the simulation theory. We will show you why you shouldn't take your suffering so seriously, because scientifically, it isn't real. This is the red pill you have been waiting for. Go to the comments one last time. Seal your contract with the ink of your digital signature. Write, "It is done." The Matrix 963, out.